Go to InfoWarsStore.com today to purchase your ProPure Pro 1 G2.0 water filtration system or call 1-888-253-3139.
In the near future.
When you realize how fake it all is, the football, the basketball.
Alert. Security alert. This is Homeland Security. Analysis. InfoWars building independent media operations.
You let the worst people get control and tell us that we are the ones responsible.
Prime directive. Discredit Alex Jones.
Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
A popular conspiracy theory talk show called InfoWars.
Alex Jones is now in an Austin jail.
These people are assaulting us.
Targeting of patriots engaged.
They are never going to stop. They're never going to deviate from their program until we stop them.
Block free iPhone app at Infowars.com. Block free podcast and video feed. Imperative. Destroy Prison Planet TV.
You gotta set your eye on the enemy, not worry about what propaganda they put out. Intellectually, it's begun. You can feel it.
You've heard about the essential qualities of iodine when it comes to your well-being, and you've read the opinions of top experts regarding this good member of the halogen family. Still, reports indicate that iodine is absent in sufficient amounts from the daily lives of countless people worldwide. Now, our extra-strength new nascent iodine formula is here, Survival Shield X2, leading the way into the next generation of super high-quality nascent iodine. InfoWars Life Survival Shield X2 is derived from 200+ million-year-old salt solutions found more than 7,000 feet below the Earth's surface. The result is a unique nascent iodine that is both concentrated and free of unwanted additives, genetically modified ingredients, and completely vegan. We even pre-screen our Survival Shield X2 iodine for radiation. Pure, clean, and sourced from deep within the Earth, X2 nascent iodine is available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com, or call 1-888-253-3139.
Coast to coast, direct from Austin. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
It's the Alex Jones Show. You're listening to Alex Jones. Here are some reports followed by our reporters, Jakari Jackson and John Ballard.
The Washington Times reports the Air Force has dumped "So Help Me God" from its oath as a result of an unidentified atheist airman defending his right of freedom of religion. I can only agree with the unknown airman's stance for his own beliefs. However, the death of morality appears to be gaining a transformative foothold on the minds and spirit of a country founded by men who espoused warnings about straying too far into the dark woods filled with power-mad and unethical leaders. The only foundation of a free constitution is pure virtue. John Adams. Neither the wisest constitution nor the wisest laws will secure the liberty and happiness of a people whose manners are universally corrupt. Samuel Adams. Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters. Benjamin Franklin. Without virtue, there can be no liberty, and liberty is the object and life of all Republican governments. Benjamin Rush, signer of the Declaration of Independence. Our marriage rate has descended to lows not seen since the Roaring '20s. Our children are bombarded with perversion, not just on television, but in their schools. Two sides of the same Bible that unknown airman renounces are set to clash in Oklahoma, as Satanists have sold out the Oklahoma City Civic Center for their blasphemous mockery of the Catholic Mass. As harmless as that may seem, ritualistic pedophilia has seeped into the highest levels of government for decades.
The Washington Times reported today that unidentified White House aides in the Carter, Reagan, and Bush administrations now are being investigated for using the services of a call boy ring. The paper reports that two of the male prostitutes were given a late-night tour of the White House last year.
Take a look at this, for instance, the National Security Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the very secretive Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Others also worked on actual military installations, including Edwards Air Force Base in California and also the California-based Naval Air Warfare Center.
Whether it's the Presidio daycare scandal.
This is the Temple of Set. The temple is the only international satanic religious institution fully recognized by the United States government.
Indeed, the Army does officially recognize Satanism as a legitimate religion. Here, charges surface connecting ritual child abuse at the Presidio Daycare Center to the Devil Cult. It was here, parents and others allege, that as many as 60 young children were ritualistically abused by soldiers of Satan. What actually was done to the kids?
Oral copulation, sodomy, defecation, they were urinated on.
The continuing DynCorp operations.
Here's how they explained it. That DynCorp workers had, quote, hired a teenage boy to perform a tribal dance at a company farewell party. No, that's not what happened. They hired a boy to do the tribal practice of having sex with him.
The most abnormal and unethical people are running the whole show. So to that unknown airman out there in Nevada and what remains of American ethics for your children and your future, from Christian author C.S. Lewis. We regard God as an airman regards his parachute. It's there for emergencies, but he hopes he'll never have to use it. John Bound for Infowars.com.
One of the top stories concerning our nation, besides the potential funding of ISIS and a potential Ebola outbreak, is the scandals involving the NFL. And no, this is not SportsCenter. We talk about this to talk about the serious issues of child abuse, of domestic violence, because as you recall previously, the NFL had the scandal involving Jovan Belcher and the murder-suicide of himself and his girlfriend. Bring you up to date with the most recent things, the most recent allegations concerning one Adrian Peterson involving child abuse. And, you know, when we talk about these topics, it's that when you have entertainers, especially sports stars, when it relates to the men, you know, because these NFL players, these NBA players, they're hyped up as, you know, this is the ultimate man. You know, you got this guy, he's in great shape, he has all these physical attributes, and he's put out there as to be, you know, the pinnacle of what you want to be, you know, kind of like a superhero, right? So this is what you should achieve to be. But the issue is when these guys get in trouble, it's the ultimate fall from grace. You know, they try to see how low they can take these guys. And some of these guys definitely need to be taken down if they're doing some of these actions that they're accused of. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you have organizations like the NFL, a guy kills his girlfriend in a murder-suicide, now we have to ban the guns. You know, it's the gun culture, they come out and say with their commentator. It's the gun culture that attributes to these type of actions. Well, I'll tell you, I've reported on many gun stories here in the state of Texas, around the country, but personally here in the state of Texas. And I've seen people very immersed in the gun culture. And these aren't violent people. These are people who can walk peacefully down the street, assembled with their long arms, walk down the street, educating people, handing out literature, and it's all well and good. No violence has taken place. So when they say the NFL that it's the gun culture, I disagree with that. And now we're talking about more physical domestic violence. We saw Ray Rice punch his girlfriend, knock her out, and also, you know, the allegations with Adrian Peterson saying that he spanked his child so hard that he basically sent them to the hospital. And I'm not one of those one-size-fits-all kind of guys, you know, because even in my more recent days here at InfoWars, I'm trying to be careful to say, you know, it's not police at large, it's this individual in the police department, or this individual in the sheriff's department, or this FBI agent, or this ATF agent, and not try to say that everybody's collectively guilty who's in those organizations. And it's the same thing with the NFL. A lot of these guys, you know, they're good-hearted guys who just grew up to play the game they love as a child. There are a lot of good-hearted people. You know, even a guy from my hometown who I went to school with, you know, he comes back to town during the summers and he teaches a free camp for the kids, and it's great. So you have a lot of good guys in the league, but you have some of these bad apples. And so I say all that to say this, that when you have the bad apples come out and do the gun violence, and now everybody's collectively guilty who's in the gun culture, is every man going to be responsible for the actions of these guys, do these bad things to their wives, their girlfriends, and so on and so forth. So let's get straight into these articles now. Peterson's attorney responds to new allegations he injured another son. Of course, referring to Adrian Peterson, some photos emerged of what alleged to be Peterson's son. He has these big welts and scars on his legs, had to be taken to a hospital. And personally, you know, I don't have a problem with spanking kids. I don't recommend that you send them to the hospital. That does cross the line to child abuse. I was spanked, talking to the guys in the back, they were spanked. You know, they tried to make it a Southern thing. It's not a Southern thing. It's in the Bible, spare the rod and spoil the child. It doesn't mean beat the child until they're put into the hospital, but you give them a little pat on the butt, hey, don't do that again. And the people I know, or, you know, the parents I know who don't spank their kids, and like, you know, Johnny, I'm gonna count to 10, 9, 9.5, 9 3/4, and then they go on this whole deal trying to get to 10, and it's a joke, and the kids are running wild. So I encourage people, well, personally, I would spank kids if I had kids, but I would not put them in the hospital. Another article about Peterson, Adrian Peterson case brings scrutiny to child spanking. And we'll go on here. SportsCenter host on Ray Rice, we need to reprogram the way we raise men. Reprogram. Well, let's see. This is ESPN writer Kate Fagan said the NFL should spend millions on programs to encourage boys to be raised in a less hyper-masculine environment. I don't think masculinity and violence are one and the same. You know, you can have a good, strong, he's not a role model, but you think about some guy like the Dos Equis man, right? And like I said, I'm not encouraging anybody to drink. I'm not saying that's the pinnacle of manliness, but, you know, he's just, you know, an adventurous guy, this fictional character, you know, and that's kind of, you know, what I'd like to be. I'd like to be an adventurer or a conqueror, you know, out on some expedition. To me, that's what's manly, not physical violence. You know, if you have to defend yourself, you have to defend yourself. And I'm definitely not saying that the cases we're talking about here are self-defense cases. But, you know, just being an adventurer, doing something useful with your time, building a media operation like Alex Jones did. You know, that's manly and masculine as far as I'm concerned, not saying that people need to be abusing their children. Spanking isn't parenting, it's child abuse. Now, once again, as I said earlier, if you spank your child to the point where you have to put them in the hospital, yes, that is child abuse, but a little pat on the butt, I don't see anything wrong with that. But, you know, people don't like that. They want you to have these little hellion children running around and doing all these horrific things. We'll move faster now. The cultural, regional, and generational roots of spanking. A lot of people have their 2 cents on this. Why you should never spank your kids. And also we have Miss Condoleezza Rice. People are saying that she should take over the NFL. She's an avid NFL watcher. And now people are saying that this person who was involved in the Bush administration, also some yellow cake shenanigans going on in the Bush administration. Not saying she was personally responsible for those, but some very questionable actions coming out of that administration. I really wouldn't want any of those guys, whether it's Bush, Cheney, Rice, or anybody else, to be involved in the NFL. And finally, we'll end on this because, you know, everybody talks about we need better role models in the NFL. And I see this, and I'm like, well, what's wrong with this guy? We see RG3, that's a quarterback for the Redskins, and he's told by the NFL not to wear his Jesus T-shirt. So you have a guy who's trying to be a positive role model in an organization that desperately needs one. He shows up saying, hey, you know, I'm a man of faith. I want to just wear a very, you know, it's a plain T-shirt. It just says no Jesus, no peace. And the NFL says, no, you can't have that because, you know, we'd rather have these other guys out here doing all these wild things and have a respectable guy walk around in a T-shirt that says Jesus. You have the NFL, the no faith league, apparently. So that's it. That's my 2 cents on that. Like I said, not everybody in the NFL is collectively guilty for this stuff. But if you have good role models, let them be good role models. And hopefully they won't try to come into your household and tell you how to raise your children, because it goes from disciplining the locker room to trying to propagandize the entire stance. Well, that's it for this segment of the InfoWars Nightly News, but stay tuned. We'll have a special report from Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs coming up right after this break.
Using unparalleled research in the development of a synergistic formulation based around the key concepts of super oxygenation, the next level in cleansing is here. With key ingredients backed by real clinical studies, the new Oxy Powder, available through InfoWars Life, was invented during Dr. Group's research on the toxification of our bodies. Many herbal colon cleansers are harsh on the body and contain cheap and potentially dangerous ingredients, oftentimes full of synthetic fillers, GMOs, additives, or worse. Gently start cleaning your body with easy capsules that start working while you sleep. Oxy Powder does not require time off work, and there's no need for bad-tasting concoctions. Instead, Oxy Powder slowly releases monoatomic oxygen into the intestinal tract and body. Experience the astonishing cleansing power of superoxide and ozonide technology. Go to InfoWarsLife.com or InfoWarsStore.com to get started with Oxy Powder, or call 1-888-253-3139.
Open your eyes. It's time to give your eyes a powerful nutritional boost. Sight is the primary input to the brain, arguably making eyesight the most important sense we have. And just like the other important organs in our bodies, our eyes function at peak levels when they are fed the proper amounts of essential nutrition. Open your eyes. Combining key ingredients like vitamin A, zinc, lutein, proprietary saffron bulb extracts, and more, OcuPower by InfoWars Life is a new formulation specifically designed to nutritionally assist the natural function of healthy eyes. Optimize the natural power of your eyes with the latest addition to the super high-quality InfoWars Life formulations, OcuPower. Go to InfoWarsLife.com or InfoWarsStore.com to order OcuPower, or call 1-888-253-3139. OcuPower. Open your eyes.